Hello, my dears. How are you today? Well, I hope it's another great day for you. Grandma wants to read you another story. This one is called The Berenstain Bears Forget Their Manners. Oops, that's not a good thing, is it? There was trouble in the big tree house down a sunny dirt road deep in bear country. Trouble with manners. The bear family's trouble with manners was that they forgot them. Uh-oh, manners are important, aren't they? You guys practice good manners? At first, it was just an occasional please or thank you that was forgotten. Then there was a rude push without an excuse me. Uh-oh. Then a reach across the table instead of a please pass the broccoli. Uh-oh, forgetting their manners, aren't they? Mama Bear wasn't quite sure how or why it happened, but she was sure of one thing. Whatever the reason, the bear family had become a pushing, shoving, name-calling, ill-mannered mess. Look at brother and sister. They're pushing, they're shouting, they're making faces, they're calling each other names. At the table, it was even worse. They were a grabbing, mouth stuffing, food fighting, kicking under the table, super mess. Look at them, kicking under the table, throwing food, stuffing food in their mouth instead of just taking small bites and chewing it and swallowing. Oh dear, Mama doesn't like that, does she? Of course, Mama Bear tried to correct Brother and Sister Bear's behavior. She tried coaxing. She tried complaining. She tried shouting. She tried going to Papa for help, though it sometimes seemed to Mama that he was part of the problem. Uh-oh, was Papa Bear forgetting his manners too? Papa banged on the table and shouted as only he could shout, but nothing really seemed to do any good. Does shouting help make things better? Not usually. Mama didn't like what was happening to her family, not one bit. Something had to be done. But what? The best way to fight bad habits, she thought, was with good habits. Then she thought of a plan. She got a big piece of cardboard and a marker. At the top, she wrote, "The Bear Family Politeness Plan." You see that at the top of the page, at the top of the big cardboard paper? When the plan was finished, she called a family meeting and showed it to Papa and the cubs. They're all there watching. Well, she explains her family plan. It certainly got the bear family's attention. Mama's plan had a list of all the rude things she wanted to stop. Beside each one was a penalty, a job or chore that went with it. If you forgot a please or a thank you, you had to sweep the front steps. If you pushed or shoved, you had to beat 2 rugs. That was back in the day before vacuums, and you had to take the rugs outside to clean them. If you got caught name calling, you had to clean the whole cellar or the basement. All the things that you would have to do if you forgot your manners and did something rude. Think that would work? But Mama, sputtered the cubs, you're not being fair. It seems to me, she said, that you're the ones who aren't being fair to yourselves or anyone else. That's what manners are all about, being fair and considerate. Manners are very important. They help us get along with each other. Why, without manners, your mama's absolutely right, interrupted Papa. Mama was talking and he interrupted. Thank you, Papa, for your comment, but interrupting is number 3 on the rude list, and the penalty is dusting the downstairs, Mama said, as she handed him the feather duster. Oh, even Papa has to take a penalty if he forgets his manners. Said Brother. This looks serious. I think we'd better come up with a plan of our own, or we're going to be doing a lot of extra chores. What sort of plan? Asked Sister. Well, he said, instead of just being polite, we'll be super polite. We'll please and thank you so much that Mama will get fed up and call the whole thing off. Yes, said Sister, we'll be so polite she won't be able to stand it. Do you think you can be so polite that your mom can't stand it? They put their plan into action. They were super polite. On the stairs. After you, Sister Bear. Thank you, dear brother. In the hall. Excuse me, brother dear. Why, certainly, my dear sister. Waiting for the bathroom? Terribly sorry to have kept you waiting. Think nothing of it, my dear. See how polite they were being to each other? But it didn't work the way they expected. Mama didn't get fed up at all. And after a while, brother and sister forgot about being super polite and were just polite at the table. Pass the honey, please. Certainly. In their rooms? Would you like me to help you pick up your toys? Thank you very much. That was very kind to help pick up the toys. In the yard? Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to bump into you. That's all right. No harm done. And it turned out that Mama had been right. Things did go more smoothly. Once they got into the good manners habit, they didn't even have to think about it. They just did it automatically, huh? But it wasn't so easy for Papa. He was the one who got fed up. It's a little harder to change habits when you're older, and he had to do quite a few extra chores for forgetting his manners. I'm glad to get out of the house, away from that politeness plan, he said, as he drove the family along the highway on a trip to the supermarket. Do you see all those chores Papa Bear was having to do? What manners do you think he might have forgotten? It's important for everyone to have good manners. Manners and courtesy are just as important away from home, especially on the road, said Mama, as they stopped at a stop sign to let pedestrians and other cars pass. They help us drive safely. See those people crossing the road while Papa is waiting his turn at the stop sign? That's a good thing to do, isn't it? Well, grumbled Papa, as they all went into the busy supermarket, I think you can have too much of a good thing. You've got to have common sense along with manners. Why, if you let everyone go ahead of you at the checkout, you'd be there forever. See that long line? What do you think? And sometimes you have to interrupt. Excuse me, madam, he interrupted a shopper, but I believe you have a leaking bottle in your cart. The shopper thanked him for his help. See that over there? Sometimes you have to interrupt with something that's important. And sometimes you can't be always polite and let everybody cut in front of you in line. You see, he said, driving home, there's more to life than remembering your manners. Besides, manners are all right for cubs and mama bears. Oh, do you think that's true? But we papa bears have other things to think about. At that moment, the car in front stopped suddenly, and Papa bumped into it. He was furious. Why, that pin-headed fiddlebrain, he snarled. Name calling, reminded Sister. It's not good manners to call someone names. The penalty for name calling was cleaning the whole cellar, so Papa gritted his teeth and remembered his manners. And a good thing, too, because climbing out of the other car was the biggest, angriest bear he had ever seen. See how big and angry looking that bear is? Do you think he liked getting hit from behind? But when the angry bear saw how polite Papa Bear was, he remembered his manners too. He explained that he had stopped short or suddenly because a mama duck and her ducklings had crossed in front of him. Then he and Papa Bear looked at their bumpers and saw that no harm had been done. See, the mama bear and her ducklings crossed the street safely with no harm done to their cars. As I was saying, said Papa, as they continued on their way, it's very important for us to remember our manners at all times. And I want to thank you, Sister, for reminding me to remember mine. You are very welcome, I'm sure, said Sister Bear politely. See, because Papa remembered his good manners, they didn't have a big fight when they had a little accident on the road. So I hope you remember, good manners are important. It helps things go much smoothly, much smoother. And so remember, Grandma loves you and practice your good manners. Bye.